Auto Museum, created in 2005. This museum was the brainchild of the owner and founder, Mel Martin, sharing his collection and love for the automobile industry. Mel had a very interesting start, but within 2 years, he had more vehicles in storage than he had in his museum. We shot this museum for the first time a number of years ago, and here it is 4 years later. We're in a new location. I don't even. He bought an old, I believe it's like an old Kmart or something like that, a very large store, let's put it that way. Uh, Completely remodeled it, gutted it, cleaned it, did put something together that's really amazing. And you know, but if you really want to take a look at some vintage footage, go to Automotive Heaven, RichieZ.com, RICHIEZIE.com, and you'll be able to see the first show that we did here at the Martin Auto Museum. But March 3rd, 2022, Mel opened his new museum. It's like a mall. It's like a museum mall. The location of the museum is at 4320 West Thunderbird Road, Glendale, Arizona. The phone number there is 602 298 2344. Martin Auto Museum and Event Center. You can have your next event there, be it wedding, graduation, bar mitzvah, birthday party, you name it, funeral luncheon, you name it. Have your next event at Martin Auto Museum. It's a place that'll make your event memorable. So, between the signs, the books, the gas pumps, and all the other vintage things, he has taken this place and turned it into a complete journey in time when you think about it. Because you go back in history and you relive the era that these vehicles are in. He's kind of a man after my own heart where he likes a lot of the late 40s or 50s and 60s, 70s automobiles are there all, you really see a lot of them. But the capacity holds up to 175 guests for your next event. And it just really is a place that'll make your event special and memorable. I love covering places like this, and this took me on a journey. What I've done, I think it's 24 auto museums on the website at RichieZ.com. Chicago History and Automotive Heaven. We have about 24 auto museums on the site. And the cool part about what we do and what we have on there is that Richie Z is a storyteller. So you don't hear the same thing that everybody else is doing. You hear some stories about cars or about like a place like this that was just put together recently. It's kind of sad in the industry that we're hearing all the time of all these places closing down. Well, I love covering places like this because it's places like the Martin Auto Museums that are opening up and they'll be in business for a long time for all of us to go out and enjoy. So the next time you're in Arizona, hit the Martin Auto Museum in Glendale, Arizona. And just tell him Richie C sent you from Chicago. He'll get a kick out of that. Chicago is our inspiration. Richie Z's Chicago is the only storyteller. For an unforgettable tour experience, discover Richie Z's Chicago History Tours up to 6 people. We pick you up and we bring you back. Book a tour with Richie Z by calling 312-841-2560. Check out our website, Richie Z, at Chicago History and Automotive Heaven, RICHIEZIE.com. Call 312-841-2560. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website at richiez.com. History presentations at your location. You can also book Richie Z to come to your location and do a Chicago history presentation. Call 312-841-2560. You know, we're in Glendale, Arizona, but if you ever hit Chicago, go on a tour with Richie Z. That phone number is 312-841-2560. It'll be a tour of Chicago you'll never forget, and we'll take you to some museums, churches, and historic sites. But let's get back into this Martin Auto Museum. This is a place that when I walked in here, I was just so excited to see cars like this from my era. Here we go with a bunch of the pony cars from the era that started in the 60s. But now we have some of the wonderful cars in the background from the early part of the industry. But the pony cars were a huge part of the automobile industry. And look at what we're seeing on the camera now. Cars from all over. Here's my friend Gary Hallard. I want to tell you a little story about Gary. Gary lives in Phoenix, Arizona. So he's been my friend for about 55 years. We go back a long time. And I come out to visit him every now and then, and we just run it ragged, going to places. This year was really cool because we were able to go to a place like this, but we also drove to Las Vegas and went to the convention center for the SEMA convention. That show is on our website also, the SEMA convention. That convention is the largest automobile convention for parts, hot rods, custom, and current, and you name it, it's there. There was over 1,400,000 square feet of convention space, and there was over 125,000 people at that convention. But this place, this Martin Auto Museum, you're seeing cars. This stripped-down 63 Chevy, it came that way because it had a high-performance motor. It was built during the muscle car era. Muscle cars were built to come out and really get you something. 65 Chevy Impala was the largest production year of Chevrolet Impalas ever in the history of Impalas. It was only 8 years old. They produced 1,046,512 back in 1965 of the Chevy Impalas. But this place has a little bit of something for everyone. For the kids, a little merry-go-round. One thing that's really unique here is he even lets you sit in the cars and stuff like that, which a lot of the places don't, and I don't blame them. I don't want you messing around with my car or damaging something or whatever. But he actually lets you come in and enjoy the cars. He's got people walking around. He's got about 2 or 3 gentlemen walking around that are very, very knowledgeable, and you can ask them questions, but they take you on a little journey. This is one of the unique things about this place. We went there in the week. It was like 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and he had people that went around, and if you had a question about the cars, and usually they were vintage people like myself that had a lot of knowledge, so they were able to answer your questions, but maybe even take you back in that day, that era, and give you the feeling of what it was like back in the day of the auto industry, the muscle car era. You name it, it's there. Martin Auto Museum, Glendale, Arizona. Chicago is our inspiration. Richie Z's Chicago is the only storyteller. For an unforgettable tour experience, discover Richie Z's Chicago History Tours up to 6 people. We pick you up and we bring you back. Book a tour with Richie Z by calling 312 841 2560. Check out our website, Richie Z, at Chicago History and Automotive Heaven, RICHIEZIE.com. Call 312 841 2560. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website at RichieZ.com. History presentations at your location. You can also book Richie Z to come to your location and do a Chicago history presentation. Call 312 841 2560. You know, when you go to the auto museums and that, you see these vintage gas pumps and gas stations. He has a number of displays where it's vintage from the day and the era. I even got some people to take some pictures of me, which we normally don't do, but I got some people to take some pictures of me at the Martin Auto Museum. This is kind of cool where it takes you on a little bit of journey of the auto industry was great, but man, when I was a kid, they had the pop machines where they had a 10-ounce bottle of Coke. It cost you 10 cents, and boy, you only got that as a treat. It wasn't like today where you put a 2-liter bottle in front of everybody and they drink that bottle with dinner and they wonder why they're obese. But man, this is some of the most finest. That's one of the cool things about it too. Some of the museums will actually they find these barn finds that are they won't touch them. Oh, they're part of history. They're part of this and part of that. And I respect that. I respect every part of this industry. But I really love a guy like Mel here at Martin Auto Museum because he likes the glitz and the glory. He likes the stuff that shines, that looks pretty. You know, he's not into the stuff that's raunchy and rusty and beat up and, weathered. He likes stuff that looks pretty. And I'm a man after his thing too. This is a car that was built in the 1800s. This is actually a car. I forgot what the name of the car was, but this was actually one of the first cars. Man, I won't say it, but I want to say something like Oldsmobile or something like that. But that's what cars looked like when they first started out back in the early day when Henry Ford, when Henry Ford started doing stuff and it started getting popular, by like 1900, there was 1,000 automakers in America. Chicago had 100 automakers making cars. That doesn't mean they were like Henry Ford or anybody else. They would buy parts from other people and then put their names on them. They would change things around. But here he has some stuff. This is kind of cool from the racing industry. I believe this Cadillac too is one of the ones that has the Corvette engine in it and that. So that's really some cool stuff. A Porsche. I love Porsches. They're really pretty. I like them all though. Somebody asks me all the time of what do you think of the auto industry and what's your favorite? They all are. They're like women. They're all pretty in their own little way, and they all have something to bring to the table. Come into a place like this though, it really is something. And you know what? This is a place where you could. I want to mention this because this is very important. He's an event center and that, but this is a place where you can bring a kid from 8 years, 8 months to 80 years, because we're all kids in our own little way. And there's something here that'll appeal to everybody. And I mean grandma, grandpa, auntie, your father, your uncle, your cousin. There's something here for everybody. Somebody, especially, a lot of people have the senior citizens out there, the fathers, grandfathers, and even grandmas and that. Make this a family event. Take them out, go get something to eat, end up here first, and then go out for dinner and that. This place is something. But Think about what I said, man. This place is not only a museum now, it's an event center. And this is a place where you can bring as many as 175 people for an event. They have all the options for tables and chairs and liquor and food, and they have everything to make your event special and memorable. The Martin Auto Museum in Glendale, Arizona, on Thunderbird Highway. I gotta laugh. I gotta get a kick out of that because where better to put an auto museum than on a road called Thunderbird? Man, that's an iconic car. You know, I don't know if I saw any Thunderbirds at the Martin Auto Museum. You know, if there's not one there, you better get one. Just kidding, folks. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing. This is Richie Z. I'm out of Chicago, but we're traveling. We're doing things. It'd be kind of cool. We really ran into a lot of issues with health, but I ran into a lot of issues with funding. So we're looking for funding to be able to start our new podcast and everything. We've got the equipment up, and we need a lot more things. A short while back, my friends Ann and Larry Martin stole about $22,000 worth of stuff from me and made it very difficult to keep this journey going. But if you want to donate to the show, you can always contact me direct at 312-841-2560. We're on Zillow. We're on PayPal. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. I'm approaching my end of being able to put people on Facebook, and everything is at RichieZ.com. RichieZie.com. That's the special way to get a hold of me. Thank you for watching, folks, and I hope you enjoyed the Martin Auto Museum in Glendale, Arizona. Chicago is our inspiration. Richie Z's Chicago is the only storyteller. For an unforgettable tour experience, discover Richie Z's Chicago History Tours up to 6 people. We pick you up and we bring you back. Book a tour with Richie Z by calling 312-841-2560. Check out our website, Richie Z, at Chicago History and Automotive Heaven, RichieZie.com. Call 312-841-2560. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website at RichieZ.com. History presentations at your location. You can also book Richie Z to come to your location and do a Chicago history presentation. Call 312-841-2560.